Hello, friends. I'm working on my lighting again, as always. Hang on, give me one sec. It is 12 weeks of Christmas time, and I think that's a little better. It is 12 weeks of Christmas time. This is maybe my favorite series that I do all year. This isn't the card we're making, by the way. This is maybe my favorite series that I do all year long because I love crafting for Christmas. I love it. So 12 Weeks of Christmas is a 12-week series. I will do Facebook Lives every single Sunday now through, I think it's going to end December 15th. If my 12 weeks of math is correct, I think it ends December 15th, which puts us 10 days before Christmas, which is just perfect. So welcome to week 1 of my 12 weeks of Christmas. Every week I will bring you a fun Christmas project, kind of an over-the-top project, I would like to say. Lots of boxes coming, lots of treat packaging, lots of gift ideas. You guys, the boxes that I've started to make for 12 weeks of Christmas are some of my favorite ever. They are incredible. So I can't wait to show you. This is the card we're going to make today. It is let me see if I can remember the actual name of it. It is a flip flap shutter card. So it flips, flaps, it flips back and forth. And it's a shutter card. So I have seen this card so many times and I was like, it looks so intimidating. Even for me, I can't do that. That's intimidating. But I actually found a video where she broke it down very simply in easy steps. And so I created it and I was like, well, that wasn't so hard. Why was I afraid of that? And I'm going to break down the steps for you guys. It's not very hard at all. And it is an incredible card. And I guarantee you, whoever you give this card to, they will just have their mind blown. I promise. So this is what we're going to make today. We're going to get into that in just a second. Before we do, I just want to remind you guys, I have a Reindeer Fun Christmas Stampa stack. The Reindeer Fun is a bundle in our mini catalog. This is maybe my favorite bundle in the entire mini catalog. I love it, especially these dies. These are my absolute favorite dies. This bundle is in the mini catalog. You will need the bundle to complete the cards. The Stampa stack, you get 3 each of 4 designs, and they are adorable cards here. All the supplies are going to come to you. You're going to get PDF instructions. You're going to get half a package of the Reindeer Days DSP. So you can actually customize these to be whatever you want them to be, because you're going to get a whole half package of that DSP. You're also going to get a full package of the real red and white baker's twine, and you're going to get a full package of the druzy embellishments, which are so beautiful. So you're going to make 12 cards, 3 each of 4 designs. The cost is $45. You will need the bundle, so if you want to add that onto the cost of your kit, you can. All the details of the Stampa stack are in the video description, so you can click that link. It'll take you to my blog. It'll take you to how to register for this. These cards are gorgeous. If you love this Reindeer Fun bundle, you're going to want to be part of the Stampa stack. Products will mail to you in October, so you'll have plenty of time to make your cards. So if you have questions on that, let me know. We are at the end of a month. Tomorrow is the last day of September. So I do have a host code in the video description if you do want to shop for products in my online store. But just be aware that host code will end Monday night, and I will have a brand new one on Tuesday for you on October 1st. All right, I think that's it. If you are new to my Facebook group, I would love it if you joined my Facebook group. Everyone is welcome. It doesn't matter if you are a demonstrator or a customer or a friend or family. It doesn't matter. Everyone is welcome to join. If you are watching the replay of this on YouTube, I would love it if you subscribe to my channel and like my video. That really helps me out. And you never miss a video, and believe me, you do not want to miss any of the 12 weeks that are coming. So this is what we're making today, this flip flap shutter card. Now I will say that there are a lot of pieces, but we're going to go over the pieces very carefully and one by one. So let's jump in because there are a lot of steps too. So let's just jump into this right away. So, okay, let's talk about our card base. So our card base is actually just a 1/4 sheet of paper. So it is 5.5 by 4 1/4. Now, if you wanted to make this so that the card actually opens, you can put this on a folded piece of cardstock so that you could open the card like this. My card is just on a card base. So if you wanted to write a message, you could either do it on the back, or if you're clever enough, you can actually write it on the inside of these little pieces here. If you maybe think in advance. It's going to be hard to do it once the card is put together, but if you think in advance, you can write a quick message and then adhere that in. Or you can do the back, or if you wanted to put it onto a card, you could. So your choice on that one. I am just using the quarter sheet of cardstock, and I'm using Real Red. So that's going to be our card base. So I'm actually going to put this piece aside. We're not going to use this one for a while. So let's talk about our frame piece then. So then we have this outside piece. This is the part that kind of you pull to make it flip flap. So that piece, I have another quarter sheet of cardstock, which is 5.5 by 4 1/4. And then I have a piece of the Reindeer Days DSP, which is the exact same size, 5.5 by 4 1/4. And all of these measurements are in the video description, so do not worry about writing them down. They are all in the video description. Okay, so what we're going to do is I'm going to adhere these together. And I'm going to use my, for this one, I'm just going to use my, what is this? Stampin' Seal Plus. We're going to use the green glue for most of our gluing for this, and I'll tell you why in a little while, but for this piece, we're just going to use a nice strong adhesive. So I went around all 4 of the sides. I didn't do the middle because we're going to cut out the middle. So just line that up nice and straight. It's the same size, so it should fit perfectly. And then get your paper trimmer out. We're going to do some trimming on this. Okay. So we are going to, oops, turn it this way so I can see it a little bit better. We're going to utilize our measurements on our ruler part here. Now you can always put, so you have the measurements here. You can, I've seen people put some washi tape or a piece of tear and tape down here. Don't remove the backing if you use tear and tape. And that will help you see the numbers a little bit better. But I think I can see them okay. So we're going to line this up at 1/2 inch, and I'm going to use the ruler on the right side here. We're going to line this edge up at 1/2 inch. I'm actually going to, don't cut yet. I'm actually going to turn my paper trimmer just so I can see my measurements a little bit easier. So I'm going to line that up at 1/2 inch, and then I'm going to move my blade over, and let me take this out. Let me show you this real quick on our blade. So we have these little lines, and hopefully the camera will focus. We have these little lines on the side, and they are on both sides here on the blade. And that indicates to you where the blade lines up exactly. My blade's like super dirty, so don't look too closely at that. So we have this lined up at 1/2 inch. I'm going to line up the blade, that little line at, oopsie, I'm moving everything. So 1/2 inch. We're basically going to cut in a 1/2 inch border. So I'm going to line that up at 1/2 inch, and I am going to cut this until we get to the 5 inch mark down here. 5 inches. So I have only cut a slit 1/2 inch from each side, and I'm going to do the same on this side. It's already lined up at that 5 inch one, so you just go until you get to 1/2 inch on this side. Perfect. And then we'll just do it on the opposite sides as well this way. So make sure it is lined up at 1/2 inch. And this time we're going to go to 3 3/4 because our cardstock is 4 1/4. So go to 3 3/4 and then go down to 1/2 inch. Perfect. So if you didn't get it all the way to the edges, I'm going to move this. We're going to come back to our paper trimmer a few times, but we are just cutting out a frame, and we just want a 1/2 inch border on that frame. So I'm just making sure that all of these cut, which it looks like they did, just this one. And now you can reuse this, maybe just trim the glue off of those, but you still have 2 good pieces of DSP and cardstock that you can reuse. So we just have 1/2 inch border, and I like to back it on the cardstock just to make it a little bit sturdier, because you are going to be, this is going to be the mechanism that's holding the whole thing together, so it's going to be moving back and forth. So you want your frame piece to be a little bit more sturdier than just DSP, and that's why we backed it onto that Real Red cardstock. Okay, so far, not too complicated, right? So that is our frame piece. Okay, now let's talk about our little flaps that are going to flip-flap back and forth. So I'm going to put my frame piece. Let's move this off to the side. And let's bring in our little frame, our flip flap pieces. So you're going to need 3 pieces, and I'm using real red. You're going to need 3 pieces, and these are 2 by 4 1/4. And I've already done 2 of them in advance, so you can see where we're going with this. And I have a little template here so you can see kind of where we're going. So we have they're 2 by 4 1/4, and we're going to score it at 1/2 inch on 3 sides, both on the, so if you're looking at it this way, on the long side, you're going to score it at 1/2 inch on both long sides, and then on the short side, 1/2 inch on one short side. So let's go ahead and do that with our, I'm going to do this with my paper trimmer. We're going to do everything on our paper trimmer. So let's do this. So let's start with our long sides. So we want 1/2 inch from both long sides. So 1/2 inch, I'm going to flip it over and do 1/2 inch again. And then 1/2 inch on one of the long, or one of the short sides. So it kind of just makes a C. So we'll kind of fold these just to see. So that's going to make like a C. So we have score lines on 3 of the sides. Now we need a couple of score lines just on these corners up here. So I'm going to put this at 1/2 inch, and then I'll put my scoring blade, and I'm going to just line it up with the score mark and just score up. And then I'll do the same thing, line up the score mark and score down. So all we've done is just score just these little corners. I don't know if you can see that, but okay. So that is all the scoring. So you're going to have this little kind of center section that doesn't have any scoring. So you have score lines on 3 sides. And we're going to do just a tiny bit of trimming. So where are my scissors? Where did they go? Here they are. All right, let's grab our bone folder first, and we're going to burnish on the ones that go all the way across. So those 3 lines that go all the way across. And I'm going to burnish them back and forth because these score lines are going to move in both directions. And so I want to make sure that the fibers, make sure that they know that they're going in both directions. Okay, so we have our card. So with the score line facing you, what we're going to do is we're going to cut up both of those score lines, and then we are just going to notch in slightly on these little squares. And this is the one that has the score line on the left, okay? We are going to cut those just like that. Okay, so we've just notched those in. Now this score line we're going to cut up until we get to that partial score line that we did here, and we are going to just trim that one, just trim the corners off of that one too. So cut up just until that partial score line, and then cut the corners off of that one. Let me straighten up this one right here. Okay. And so that will give you these, and you want to make sure that you grab your bone folder now that that score line is free, and again, give that a good burnish again in both directions. Those little tiny tabs, those are important. Okay, so you're going to do that 3 times, and you can do all your scoring all at once and all your cutting all at once. But you're going to end up with 3 of these that have score lines on 3 sides, and then there's 1/2 inch tabs on all 4 corners. Okay, so I hope everybody is with me, and if you need to take a quick screenshot of this little template, you can. This picture will not be on my blog. I didn't take a picture of this little template. If you want it, make sure you grab your screenshot. Okay, so that is our little tabs. And I'm going to keep them with that score line on the left side. I'm going to go ahead and stack them up over here. I'm going to keep them with that score line on the left side because that's going to be important when we get to that part. Okay, let's do our stamping. Now, if you didn't want to do stamping, I'm going to give you measurements for both, but if you didn't want to do the stamping, you could just do DSP, and I'm actually going to show you a sample at the end where I just used DSP. But we're going to do all the stamping at once. So I have one piece of cardstock, and this piece is, let me get my measurements right. This is 4 1/8 by 3 1/8. We're going to end up trimming this up in just a minute, but I want to do my stamping first. So let's grab our ink. We're going to use our little prancing deer here. Now you can have this all trimmed up and do the stamping, but I like to do the stamping before we start trimming it. So I'm going to put this kind of directly in the middle, a little bit high of center. So I want them kind of up a little bit higher. All right, so that was in early espresso. I didn't mention that. So early espresso, I'm going to pull out my pool party, and we're going to add some snowflakes to him, just in the background here, just kind of around him. I'm trying not to stamp over him, but just a little bit around him, some snowflakes. Okay, and I'm not going all the way down. Snowflakes only go about halfway down. All right, so that was in pool party, and then in real red, we're gonna stamp the, I don't know what you call this on a reindeer. It's not a bridle. A bridle goes on a horse. It goes around their face, right? So is this like a harness? I don't know what this is. Well, we're gonna stamp this in real red onto our reindeer, just like that. If you know what that's called on a reindeer, let me know. A harness? I think it might be a harness. I don't know. My reindeer terminology is probably not where it should be. All right, I'm going to color him really quick, and I'm going to use Crumb Cake Stampin' Blends. I'm using light and dark. I'm going to start with my dark ones. Now again, if you don't want to stamp this, you can use DSP and you can skip this whole step. But I wanted to do some stamping with this guy. So I'm going over where there's going to be some shadows, like his back leg here is going to be a shadow. On the back of his harness, there's going to be a shadow, kind of like that. Around the harness, there's going to be a little bit of a shadow. Just kind of wherever you think there's going to be a shadow. The artist has given a few little lines to indicate where there's a shadow, so you can add those lines in. But you can color it however you want. You certainly don't have to color it the way I color it. All right, his ears. His back ear, I think, is going to be kind of shadowed with his antlers. Okay, so that's with the dark. And then I'm going to go in with the light and color this. And my crumb cake marker, oh my goodness, I need a new crumb cake. My crumb cake marker, oh my gosh, this side is like completely dry. Okay. I need some new crumb cake blends, guys. I need to order me some. Wow. Okay, so we're really gonna work hard to get this to blend. It's not gonna be a great blend, but it'll be what it'll be. All right, now his little tail here, I'm just gonna go over with crumb cake. You can probably leave that part white. He might have like a white tail. All right, quick little, I really need to place an order and get some Stampin' Blends. Oh my goodness, these are so bad. All right, we're gonna have to pretend that I'm doing a better job than I am. All right, and around his face. Hopefully we're just getting some color on. Sorry about the squeaking, guys. I'm having to press pretty hard just to get a little bit of ink out. Okay, it's not perfect, but it'll be what it is. Okay, so that's crumb cake, and then I'm just gonna take my petal pink dark and just color the inside of his ear. Okay, so that's our little reindeer. Use crumb cake Stampin' Blends with some nice juicy ink there. Okay, now I have another piece that is 4 1/8 wide, right? Yes, 4 1/8 wide. This is just about a 1/2 inch. I'm just gonna tear this, not a half, it's about like an inch, inch and a half. I'm just gonna tear this so it's about 3/4 of an inch tall. And I'm gonna grab my Pool Party ink again. And I'm gonna use a little mini blending brush, and I'm just going to add some little shading to the top. And that's gonna just look like snow. Just kind of that he's jumping through like hills of snow. So it's not going to show up much in the camera, I don't think, but it's just a little bit of shading. You're going to see that in the photos on my blog. That'll be posted after this video. So we have our little snowdrift here, and I'm going to use my Stampin' Seal Plus again for this. And we're just going to adhere this down to the bottom of our stamped piece. Just just like this. And it's going to cover a little bit of his feet, but I'm okay with that because then it looks like he's actually like hopping through the snow. Okay, so this is our stamped piece. Now, we need it into 3 panels. So it's already 4 1/8 by 3 1/8. So we're going to trim it up a little bit. So we're going to cut these into 1 3/8 inch pieces. So 1 3/8 is just below 1 1/2. It's between 1 1/2 and 1 1/4. And so, oops, that's a score. I don't want to score it. So 1 3/8. So we have 1 and 2, and then we should be left with a 1 3/8 inch piece. So they should be equal pieces now. And you can puzzle them back together. Fortunately, it's an easy puzzle. We can handle this one. So just like that. So we have 3 pieces now that are 1 3/8 by 3 1/8. Now, if you wanted to use DSP or you wanted to use something else, just make sure that you have 3 pieces that are 1 3/8 by 3 1/8. And you're going to need 3 of those same size pieces for the back of our little flaps. So back here. Okay, so we're going to adhere these down to each of our flaps. And for this, I'm going to use liquid glue. So we're going to put the reindeer on the front. And when you're putting this on the front, make sure that the front has that score line on the left, okay? So you're going to center this in that area with the score line on the left. And it's just going to give you the slightest little border, just like that. And then we're going to put a piece of DSP on the back. Okay. And I'm using liquid glue because it's going to give me a little bit of wiggle room. There's not a lot of space here. You're going to end up with a very small little border. And so the liquid glue is going to give you that little bit of wiggle room. Okay. So this is such a fun card, and I think I would make like 1 or 2 of these for super special people. But if you make a ton of Christmas cards, I don't know that this is a card I would make, but I think for a couple of people, this would be a very special card for them to receive. All right, this one goes on the back. Okay, perfect. I'm gonna let these set up and dry. We have 1 more. And then we're gonna start assembling it. Once we have all of this together, once we have our little panels together, then assembling it goes nice and quick too. Thanks, Kathy. This is such a cool card, and I've seen this card for years, but I've been so intimidated by it. But once you break it down step by step, you can do it. And I've seen it with a much bigger card, like a 5x7 card. And I don't make a lot of bigger cards like that, so it never really interested me to make a bigger card. So when I sought out to make a standard size card, I really wanted measurements for that. So super fun, right? Ah, I love it. Okay, so we have our panels. We have the DSP on the back of all our panels. So let's go ahead and start assembling this. So I have a piece of our base, our real red. We talked about this at the very beginning. This is just 5 1/2 by 4 1/4. And we are going to start assembling our pieces. So this is going to go on. So we need to be very strategic about where we're putting our glue, because we don't want to glue our panels down. So we are only adding glue, and I'm going to put it on the back. So the side with the DSP, I'm putting it on the back, just on the 1/2 inch side. So on the back of this side, which will be, it's now the right side. So we're putting a little bit of glue on that little 1/2 inch tab, this long 1/2 inch tab, and this little 1/2 inch tab. Okay. So if you flip it over, the tabs are still on the left. But that's where we're going to put our glue. And this one, our very first one, make sure you have the right part of the puzzle. Our very first one is going to go right up in the corner. So it's going to go flush against the top corner here, the bottom corner here, and then flush against the side here. So it's going to go all the way over. We're going to make sure that that is nice and adhered. All right, now flip over these 1/2 inch tabs. Those little tiny 1/2 inch tabs, you want those kind of standing up. Let me see, I have a piece of pull party here so you can kind of see how we want those standing up, because we don't want to adhere these down yet. So let's just make sure those are standing up. And you're going to grab puzzle piece number 2, and you're going to put adhesive in the same areas, in those 1/2 inch areas, those little 1/2 inch tabs. Now you're going to, this is kind of going to go under this a little bit, and those tabs are going to, they're going to go right here, just like that. Does that make sense? So you're going to line up the score line with the edge of the first panel. So let me hold it up so you can kind of see. So our score line here, so this score line is lined up with the edge of this panel. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. Okay, and we're going to flip these ones up so you can see how this is only adhered on with those panels there. All right, we're going to do the same thing to our last one. Adhere here, adhere these, adhere these. Okay, so this is going to go under that one. We're going to line up those panels, line up kind of top and bottom, and adhere that down just like that. Okay, we're going to flip these up as well. Okay, so far that's coming together. So you can see these are all gonna open up. They're not adhered down. Okay, good, right? We're taking this step by step. I promise this is not super complicated. All right, now this part is easier to do before we put our top frame piece on. So I have some pool party pieces inside there. Now on these, on my sample one, I did stamp some little snowflakes on them. I'm not going to do that on this one just for time's sake. But we have 4 pieces of pool party in there, and that's just when you flip it open, there's something in the background there, and it's going to really make the panels pop even more. Plus, we're going to cover up our little mechanisms here with those pieces. So you're going to need 4 pieces of pool party. And so the first one is, let me find all my measurements. This is 3/8 by 4 1/8, and that's going to go just on this corner. And then you have 2 pieces that are 1 3/8 by 4 1/8, and those are going to go on these. And then your last piece is 1 7/8 by 4 1/8. Now, if you wanted to write a message, I would do that for this one before you adhere it down. That's going to be the final one on this side. Now it does open, so you can write a message if you wanted to, or you can put your message on the back. That would be cool too. So we're going to go ahead and adhere all of these down. So I'm going to start just on the left and work my way over. Now again, I'm using liquid glue for this because it's just going to give me a little bit of wiggle room. There's going to be just that slight little 1/8 of an inch border around these. So another cool thing you could do with this card, if you do family photos, you could print your family photos to close to this size, and then you can just trim them down and, you know, cut up your family photo into the 3 panels so that you have your family photo here, and that would be really cool too. Okay, and move this one over. Now next week for 12 weeks, I think we're going to be doing a gift box. There's not a lot of Christmas stuff in the stores yet, you guys. So my gift ideas are not really thriving yet. We're still in Halloween, so we still have to kind of wait for the Christmas stuff to show up in the stores. But I do have some ideas. So next week we'll be doing a fun gift idea, I think. Nice little stocking stuffer. Okay, so we have all of those little panels glued down. And so we have these ready. Now make sure that these little 1/2 inch panels are facing to the left. Okay, so they're all going this way. All right, now we're gonna take our frame piece. So we cut this frame piece at the very beginning. So we're gonna take our frame piece. And so I'm gonna put some glue just on these little 1/2 inch tabs. So they're all kind of facing to the left. So you just wanna make sure you put a little bit of glue on those 1/2 inch tabs. Now our Tombow, our multi-purpose glue that I'm using, it's very strong, so a little goes a long way. So this is gonna hold really nicely. Just make sure you use a super strong glue. Now what I'm gonna do is, because our little tabs are all kind of going this way, I'm gonna kind of lay my frame this way. So I'm gonna line it up kind of on the edge here. Now this is like the hardest part because you wanna make sure that you don't get glue everywhere. So we're gonna line up this. And then we're just going to go through and just adhere those tabs down. So start on the right and move to the left and just adhere those tabs down, just like that. I'm going to make sure everything is nice and adhered. There we go. Make sure everything is nice and adhered. And I'm going to set this aside just to finish drying and setting up before we start moving it back and forth. We're going to stamp our greeting. So I have my Real Red ink again. I have the Merry Christmas greeting from the Reindeer Fun bundle. Now we're not using any of the dies here, but if you are purchasing the Reindeer Fun stamp set, I do recommend just getting the bundle because the dies are so amazing. All right, I'm just going to stamp this just along the edge. And I like to do it upside down because then I can, it's the top of the greeting is straight. The little R and the S kind of hang down, so it's easier for me to line up that top of greeting because it's straight. Okay. All right, we're going to trim this up just to like the height and the length of the word. I'm going to do that. And you can use scissors. You can use any paper trimmer you have. Christmas, and then I'm just going to trim the Merry just a little bit more because it doesn't have any letters hanging down. So we have Merry Christmas ready to go, and we'll adhere this on. Now this is going to go on our center panel, and I'm only going to put adhesive on the left side of the greetings. So for the Merry, just kind of under the M and the E. And this is just going to go on the center one. And for the Christmas, maybe just about 1/3 of the way. Merry Christmas. Love it. That's so cute. All right, finishing touches. We have some of that super fun Real Red and White Baker's Twine. Now, at the beginning, I talked about that Christmas card Stampa stack featuring that Reindeer Fun. Now, if you want that Christmas card Stampa stack, you're going to get a whole roll of this in your kit. So you're going to have plenty left over. So I'm just tying it around the left side. We're just going to tie a little bow. We're just tying it around that frame. And scissors. Just trim this. Okay. And then I have some of the Pool Party. Well, these I think are Coastal Cabana, but they're close enough. These are our glossy dots. These have been around for a while, actually. I love them. They come in Pool Party, Daffodil Delight, Gorgeous Grape, and I think another color, I can't remember. Melon Mambo, I think. But they are so gorgeous, and they are nice and flat, so it's not going to add to your postage fees. But that is our flip-flop card. Now let's see if it works. So everything should be dry. Now the first couple times you do it, it's going to be a little rough because it's learning what it needs to do. But once you do it over and over again, it's going to just kind of do it naturally. I'm actually going to kind of press it this way just to get those fibers going that way. So isn't that fun? So once you get that once it's nice and adhered down and glued down, you're going to have this amazing little flip-flap card. So isn't it fun? I hope that I broke down those instructions easy enough. Now, if you need to go back and watch the video again, pause it where you need to pause it, kind of make it along with me, you can. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. I hope I was able to give you clear enough instructions for it. Now I do have another one to show you if you wanted to use DSP. This is from the Sentimental Christmas DSP. So instead of stamping those panels, I just cut them to that 1 3/8 by 3 1/8 and then just adhered them down. And then I have the greeting. The greeting is from the Snowy Wonder. We have ribbon, and then we have the pecan pie ribbon dots there. But this one is the same way. You have that DSP on the front and back too. So if you wanted to streamline this a little bit more without the stamping of the image, you could just use DSP, and it is still just a simply gorgeous card and a really fun card. All right, guys, so that is it for week 1. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I'll be back for week 2 next week. Like I said, we're probably going to make a really fun little box, so I hope you can join me for week 2. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. Make sure to like and share this video with your friends. If you're on YouTube, please subscribe to my channel. That really helps me out. And I will see you guys again next week for week 2. Have a great rest of your Sunday. Bye.